Hello.
The Dalit?
Tesvav.
Oh, sorry. Am I interrupting you? I was going to show you Walter's email. I was wishing good Shabbos.
Oh, I see.
Typical Walter.
Smoke a cigar?
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Ian.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hi.
Oh, you
We're
look like
in-
look
we
like
are
you're
in-
singing. What?
We are in Porto, Portugal.
All right. It looks like you're sitting in a king's throne.
I'm sitting, this is the lobby of the hotel. It's a very nice Mandarin.
Down the hill, behind the yellow building. Is a
So how you get there?
You got this when you go down. You follow down the hill. That's what they say.
We learned,
Down there, you follow there.
we're on Tesvav 15. Masechta Kesubos.
Yeah. And it's behind.
Rabbi
Yes.
Yossi said that a young girl who went down to the spring and got raped, she's still allowed to marry a Kohen. So how could this be? The event happened in the marketplace of Tziporim. Now, why does that make it good? There was a caravan where we knew that the majority of the people in the caravan were Jews, and the majority of the people in the city were Jews.
Okay.
So since it's Rov Ksherim, it's two rows.
Wow.
Rov of the city,
Oh,
Rov of the caravan. Because if you have strangers coming into the city through a caravan, so if it was Rov Jews,
Mhm.
we would not, when it comes to Yuchsin, allow the child to be able to marry to Kohen. To Rav Yana, Rav Yana. Nivelas bekronos. If someone was raped in a market, ksheir l'kuhuna, afraid to go to Gemara bekronos l'kadaitich. What do you mean? In a market, ela nivelas b'shas kronos. We're talking about the time of the marketplace when we know caravans are traveling. So, ksheir l'kuhuna. So, because in the city, you have two rows. You have rov of the number of people living there, and you have rov of the caravan. Aval pirish echad mitzipori uva. Let's say a man left the city of Tzipori, where we know there's rov Jews,
Okay.
and raped her, and she got pregnant. Havlad shesuki, because there's only one rov here. You got 80% Jews, 20% non-Jews. Well,
But this is two.
you need two rovs in order to kasher. We go to say it's okay if the majority of the city, but not if there is also not a caravan. Klape laya? What do you mean? We're going to learn soon. Classic case of 9 butcher shops, 10 butcher shops. 9 are kosher, 1 is non-kosher. Now, there's a classic. If you find a piece of meat on the floor, you don't know which store you found it in. So that's called kavula. The meat didn't separate from the stores. It's treated as mechza k'mechza domi. It's treated as a 50% suffix.
Okay. No matter what the percentage of the store is.
We know it's 9 kosher. Now, if it was porish, if the meat is found in front of the stores, then we go after rov. So he's saying that the city is kaviyah. Why are you making it worse? Why are you saying it's better if it's the city? The caravan is moving, and the caravan should be treated not as stringently, and the city should be treated more stringently because it's a fixed thing, and it's happening in the and you need a majority of the caravan that's traveling through the city also to have Jews. We don't just make a calculation of the city itself. Oh, if it's 51%, it's okay. No. And not we look at the caravan alone and say this caravan, we need both. Rov in the city, Rov in the caravan. My type of Gzeira Rov Siyah to Rov Ha'ir. It's a Gzeira. The Rov Ha'ir Nami. If the man leaves the city and goes to her, so then it's treated like the piece of meat that left the city. And then we go after Rov, called the Parsh Baruba Parsh. She went to the city. And it's as if you found the meat in the store itself, where we treat it as 50-50. Da'avale kavua. The Amr of Zera called kavua kemechzal mechzadon. Now, anything doraisa that is 50-50, Safik doraisa is l'chumra. So that's why we don't let her marry a kohen. Freik the Gemara mibein and trey ruba. So it seems like for yichus, we need a double rov. Rov of the city, rov of the caravan. Is that so? Vatanya, Teshachan, 9 stores. Kulan mochres basar shchuta. 9 of them are selling kosher meat. Achas mochres basar nevela. 1 of them is selling treif. The lokach me'achsman, he went into the store and he bought it in the store. He forgot which store he bought it from. Sfeiko Osir. The suffix is Osir, even though there's 9 butcher shops versus 1.
Bye. Good luck.
Uvanimtza, but if it's found outside of the store, halachach it's only 1 rove. Why don't we say over there you need 2 roves? Maybe we'll say this when the doors of the city are not closed, because then we're concerned that people from the outside of the city might come in. Even if the gates of the city are closed, we say it's still considered okay. The Gemara says, Maila Asa b'Yichus. In a regular case of trephus, which is not related to Yichus, we can be more makel. We lie in 1 row. We are more machmir, we need 2 rows. And that's how the Rambam paskins. Gufa. Amrav Zer, Kol Kavuk Metzel Metzel. If you go into a store, there's 9 kosher ones, 1 non-kosher one. And you go into the store, it's treated as 50-50. Whether it leads to a kula, whether it leads to a chumah. Menali Rab Zerah, what did Rab Zerah learn? The case of 9 butchers that sell kosher meat. And 1 sells treif. He went into one of the stores, bought meat, comes out with the meat. He forgot which he bought. The din is sveikos, you would not be able to eat such meat. Uvanimtza, if you find it outside of the store, then halachachar. So the Gemara says, Hasam l'chumra. That's a chumra. The fact that it's 9 versus 1, and we still say it's osir. I want to see a case, says the Gemara, that you use it for leniency. And we're going to see it soon. Elamitisha tzvardiim. A tzvardei is a frog. A frog, when it dies, does not convey tumah. The sheretz echad b'neim. The sheretz like a weasel. There's shmona type. There are 8 types of shruts in it. When their corpse is conveys tumah. So you have 9 frogs. 1 thing that is tumah. The noga bechave. He touched 1 of them. He doesn't know which one he touched. But they didn't separate from the pile. It's not like 1 separated from the pile and touched it. There was a big pile, you touched 1 of them. The din is it's kavua. Sveiko tame. Well, if you had 9 kosher ones that were not tame and 1 tame one, so again, that's stringent, not lenient. We want a leniency. Here it comes. You have 9 Tomei Dika Shrotzim and 1 Sfardei, which is not Tomei. The Noga Bechbe, the Eine de Ben Noga. So here's this. When it comes to Tumah, the din of Tumah is learned from a Sota woman. The events of a Sota woman have it in private room, right? A man warns his wife, don't sequester. They go ahead and sequester. We don't know if they had relations. It's a suffix. What do we say? Sofek le'isser. The husband's not allowed to live with his wife until she goes to the base of English and brings the sota court. Now, so there we learn that if it's a suffix, we go l'chumra when it's rishus hayochid. But let's say you touch something tummy in the rishus harabim, you're not sure what it is, within its tor. So, birshus hayochid tzveik tummy, birshus harabim tzveik tor. So now we see the leniency. You have 9 tummy dikashrots, 1 fraud, which is not tummy. And you touched one of them, you don't know which one you touched. Even though the majority are tummy, we treat it as a suffix. Now, suffix b'shus harabim is tahor. So this is the leniency that we were looking for. How do we know that this works also midorais? Amar Krov, v'arav lo v'kamon. Person ambushes and then murders someone. Ad she is kave lo. You can't put him to death until he had plans to kill that specific person. We're talking about a case you threw into a group of people. Now, midorais, if you kill a non-Jew, you're not put to death. You're not allowed to do it, but there's no capital punishment for that. So let's say you have in a crowd 9 goyim and 1 Jew, and you throw a rock, and it kills one of them. And we don't know which one is killed. So we're going to say that it's also so what's the deal? Typically the Ruben Nachranim. Why don't we say that he doesn't get put to death is because just a simple majority were going. Oinami pagu palga. Even if you're going to say it's 50-50, suffix nafshas lahakel. When Bezdin is adjudicating a person and it's 50-50, you don't put him to death. So maybe that's why it's cool. So maybe here's the leniency. There's 9 Jews, 1 goy. You throw a rock, one of them is killed. You don't know which one it is. Do you put him to death? Well, based on majority, you would.
Right.
But the Havalei Nachri Kavua, since we created this rule that if one of them separates from the pile, so then we go after Rov. If they stay in the group, then it's treated 50-50. With 50-50, suffix nefashos lahakel, we go lenient. Itmar. Rav Chia bar Ashi Amar Rav. Halachic Rav Yosi. The halachas are Rav Yosi to permit, to be lenient by the girl who gets raped, and can she marry a girl? Rav Chanan bar Rav Amrav Hoyrashai said no, it was just a ruling for that specific time. It's not forever. Masif Rav Yema uliyuchsen laboy trei ruba. How can we say that it's lenient? I thought you just taught us that to be mala for a Kohen to get married, we need 2 rows, and that was only 1 row. That not. We have another halach. You find a foundling, a kid in a basket. Imrov Nachron, if we do a census, 51% of the population are non-Jews, then we have to treat the child as a non-Jew. He would need giyur. Imrov Yisrael, Yisrael. If 51% are Jews, you would have to treat him like a Jew. Mechza, one of us 50-50, Yisrael. V'Amar Rav, lo yishanu ala chayosa. That's only he falls into a pit. Are you chayiv to take him out of the pit? I Paul. So we are on test vav on the base, 15 on the base. We said you found a foundling in a city, and it's the majority are non-Jews. Then the foundling is a non-Jew. If it's found that the majority of the people in the city are Jews, then the foundling is a Jew. If it's 50-50, it's considered it's Yisrael. Now, to what din do we say he's Yisrael? Amar Rav Leishanu ala chayosa. Chayosa means somebody falls into a pit. Are you mechuyev to get him out of it? So for a Yisrael, yes. For a non-Jew, no. So aval law that Israel that a Rav could give him chuppah v'kiddushin? Absolutely not. Why? Why? We're on the top. Tesvav,
Yeah.
Amud Beis.
Oh,
We said matzah. Yeah,
that's right.
we said matzah botinik mushloch. In Rav Nachrim, Rav Yisrael, Yisrael, Metzl, Yisrael. Omer Rav Oisha, Lachayos. The din that we say that if there's 50-50 in the city, we treat him as Yisrael. Is only this din that you have to take him out of a pit if he falls in. For example, a non-Jew, you would not be required to do that. Aval yuchsin lo, because we learned you need two roivs. You need the rov of the city and rov of the caravan that's traveling through the city. Shmuel Omer lefakech alav v'sagal, for a different halacha. A building collapses on a person on Shabbos. Are you allowed to dig him out on Shabbos? So if it's a non-Jew, you're not allowed to dig him out on Shabbos. Today it's a different din. Today there's a din of Ava, where we would do it, because we don't want to pogrom against us. But we're talking about me'ikaret. For example, a religious doctor, if I'm called on Shabbos, I don't ask, is he a Jew, is he a non-Jew? But technically, Pikuach Nefesh is Doicha Shabbos only for a Jew. It's not Doicha Shabbos for a non-Jew. We do it because of this side issue, Ava, that if word gets out that a doctor was available and didn't come because of Sabbath, they're going to do a pogrom. Okay, same thing here. That means you only do this to a Jew. That's what we say, Mechza is Israel. So Ishtamit say, Hadam Ravina Marav. He forgot what Rav said. That event where we say you're allowed to save him was again in that marketplace of Tzipoiri where the majority of people in the city were Jews and the majority of the caravan were Jews. It was two roivs. Now, Rav Chanan bar Avad Amar HaRasha Isa Kasha. Now, what about the one who said that it was only a halacha for that time? Aman de Masiyah lo Masiyah. The one who learned that halacha didn't learn this halacha. Goof. We're going to analyze in detail that which we mentioned in passing, this case. You found a foundling in the street. A foundling. You find a child, a basket in a basket.
Oh,
That's called a foundling. A child in a basket.
I thought we were talking about an animal.
No, baby.
You find a baby in a basket left on a doorstep in a city. So what's it in? So we said, Imrov Nochrim, if the majority of the city are non-Jews, then the child is a non-Jew. Imrov Yisrael, Israel. If the majority of the people in the town are Jews, Jews.
Did we do any kind of checking to see who gave birth, who was pregnant?
Yeah, but in a city,
A large city.
Mechza, if it's 50-50, Yisrael. And Amir Rav Lo Yishanu El Lachayosa. It's not to being able to marry him off to another Jew. It's only in the din of if he falls into a pit, are you required to save him or not? A fellow Jew, you are required. If he's a non-Jew, you're not required. So Avala Yuchsin Lo. But to say that he's just because there were 51% of the people in the city were Jews, and this guy, you're claiming he's a Jew, not to get him married, just to save him. Because Pikuach Nefesh, we're lenient regarding Pikuach Nefesh to treat him as much as possible to save him. Shmuel Mefakech Alav Zagal. The din of saying it's 50-50, we dig up a rune to see if a person's there, but it's not for Yuchsin. In fact, Shmuel never said this. Which means, if we said that if it's 50-50, we treat him as Yisrael, and then you're mafakim alagav. What about if the city was majority, there were 80% Goyim and 20% Jews? So according to what we were just learning, mefakech lav zakal, that's only if it's mechza. But if it was not mechza, you would not be mefakech lav zakal. Shmuel has said when it comes to pikuach nefesh, we don't look at majority. Even if 1%, even if there was one Jew in the city with 100,000 people, you hear what I'm saying? If there's one Jew in the city with 100,000 people and a building collapsed, you'd be allowed to dig up the building. We don't go after rov when it comes to pikuach nefesh. Even if there's a chance, one in a whatever, you'd have to do it. He was some of the ratio, which was Imrav Nachrim, that if you have a foundling and the majority of the people in the city are non-Jews, it's treated as a non-Jew. Amar Shmuel Fakech Alav Sakal Ein okay. But that's not the din. By saving him, he holds it no matter what you do it. Then we said, Imrov Nachrim Nachri L'mayilchus. So then, if that's the case, that you always save people, then when we said you find a foundling and 80% of the city are non-Jews, and we say it's treated like a non-Jew, to what halacha? Regarding pikuach nefesh, you save everybody. So kosher meat costs 5 times non-kosher meat. So are you allowed to feed this infant trephis? The din is yes.
Are you required to, or you're allowed?
No, you're allowed to. Lachilo nevelis, you're allowed to, because he's treated as a nachri halachically.
This is an abandoned child.
Abandoned child. Then we said in Rav Yisrael. We said if the majority of the people, population are Jews, it's treated as a Jew. To what halacha is that relevant? Somebody has a lost object. We have a din, you have to return it to the person. It's only to a Jew. It's not to a non-Jew. Again, we have Ava that we have to learn. Does Ava apply to that? Okay. Then we said Mechza Yisrael. We said if you did a population census, 50-50, we treat him as a Jew. Damages. If you damage somebody, so you have to pay fine. That's only to Jews, not necessarily to non-Jews. If one of our oxes gored his ox, and he's a suffix, whether he's a Jew or not, and he wants to get paid in Jewish court, Lay, so the Jew, the owner of the ox, can say to the guy who's claiming, I see right Yisrael, bring me. Remember, there's always a stringency when it comes to money. What's the famous rule? Possession is 100% of the law. Whoever has, so I have the money. My ox scored this guy, and this guy's a suffix, but we said he's a Yisrael. So, and he now comes, he wants to say, I'm a Yisrael, I want to be paid for the fact that your ox scored me. Now, if my ox scores a non-Jew, I don't have to pay him. Jewish property, I don't have to pay him. So I say to him, you bring me proof that you're a Jew. Now, can he bring proof? He's a foundling. He has no proof. You understand? If you can bring proof to take money out of me, whoever wants to collect the money, it's on the burden of proof's on him. So he would have to bring a proof. I can push him away with that claim. Now,
this is still an infant that we're dealing with here?
Infant, but then he grows up.
Okay.
Then he grows up, and then my ox gored him. So he still has that status. He's a suffix person. He's a Yisrael, but he's a suffix Yisrael.
Do we have an obligation to the person?
Probably a suffix. Who has the obligation? Who's the father? So Bezdin would do it if he's being treated as Yisrael. So I see right Yisrael. Go, bring me proof that you're a Jew. I'll be happy to pay. The chiddush is no, one of his oxes gored us. Now, palga mishal. Now, when a short tam pays, when a shore that has never gored before is a short tam, you pay chatzin nezik. Technically, you shouldn't pay anything, but we make a knas that you pay half damages. So the half damages he has to pay. Now, if a non-Jew's ox gored my ox, he's required to pay me full damages. So now the dispute is the remaining 50%. He now can say to me, I see Raya, the Lav Yisrael. You bring me proof that I'm not a Jew.
Right.
And then I'll pay you the other half. Okay. We'll talk tomorrow about what we want to learn on shops. We'll see how we feel. You want to check that other place out?
No, the rest.
Okay. 11:35.
So it's
There-
behind the yellow.
Yeah,
building?
if you want to come, there's like a refreshment place.
Ernie, what about here?
There's a reflection.
You're not in this building?
So, yeah.
Who's out in the other building?
smile in the skies. Of love, it seems so much more than just words could ever say. What my heart
Let's start it up a little bit.
my arms around you.
I'm gonna go up to the room.
I'm so worried that I have found you.
Okay, so we'll see you later.
Is on one place. Time can tonight. Let's be just the start of somewhere next night. Take another drive and let's see it. I can't feel my arms around you. How long I have waited. Now that I have found you, don't ever go. Ever go. I can't feel my arms around you. How long I have waited. Now that I have found you, don't ever go. Don't ever